Alright guys, today is going to be the second video in a three-part series that we're taking a look at the guard position. Last time we took a look at close range guard or the closed guard. Today we're going to be taking a look at the next position out, which is the mid-range or mid-range post guard position. Okay guys, so the last video we primarily kept that guy in our guard until we swept, and we looked at ways to deal with that. So today we're going to look at making space. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, if I am armed, I prefer to make space immediately. I don't want to stay and grapple unless they force me to. We commonly will tell our guys when we're training, you have to earn grappling. So I would normally try to make as much space as possible and get to my feet and get up. So now sometimes that fails due to pressure from my opponent. Maybe they're still trying to strike me and they're giving forward pressure, so I'm unable to make that space. So if I'm in that close range guard, I generally try to work my way out into the mid-range and then to the long range post. So today we're just going to focus in on that mid-range post or frame position. This frame is a common frame in grappling. Sometimes we will use this to set up a scissor sweep in Jiu-Jitsu or several other grappling based systems. It is also a good position to stop an opponent that is trying to punch you. Okay, so we're going to look at first the scissor position, or what I call a mid-range frame, and then look at some movement options in that position. So if I'm in the closed guard position, one of the ways I like to move back is I use what's called a heavy leg, which is I'll just stiffen the body like that, and I'll shoulder walk back to make space. One of the reasons I do this is because if he's giving me forward pressure, you'll see his energy moves me. So if I have that heavy leg position, I can use the effort he's making to create movement. So if I do that heavy leg and end up into that scissor position, this is what I refer to as a mid-range frame or post position. Now earlier in the previous video, we took a look at my partner swinging at me here. And if I stay in one position, I'm not a moving target. So the next drill is just to look at how to move. You have a couple of options for movement here. I can switch left and right, but I am not moving. You see, I'm pretty much stayed in the same position and I'm just rotating my body. So for me, when I'm trying to be a moving target here, I will rock and sit up and move left and right. You can also swing back. And we can do this drill much like we did in the previous video with my partner striking. It also sets up options as I move into distance from sitting up or rocking back and forth to sneak in one of my own on occasion if I see the opportunity to do so. Good. Okay, so we looked at some movement out of the drill. Probably one of the most common reversals or sweeps for me from this position when I'm playing the drill is the old school scissor sweep. This is a pretty common sweep in grappling arts. But as he's driving toward me and I make that frame, what I'm looking for is the ability for his weight to come forward, and I'm just scissoring my legs to throw him off. And generally for me, I like to come up into a knee-on position because, again, I want to try to take the firearm or the weapon system away from him as quickly as possible. Some pressure's formed. Kneels. North south. North south. So sometimes in the movement earlier, I managed to make my partner miss. Sometimes if I'm here and they're swinging, I'll commonly be able to get on the outside of an arm like that. So if he's punched on that side, and I'm able to get behind that arm it gives me the opportunity to look at a reverse scissor sweep. Just grabbing the lat, flipping them over, coming up. Guys, if you like this information, this is all small parts of a system that we teach in an online video academy. If you'd like more information on that video academy, you can find it at the top of the screen. So another common one I catch pretty often, especially when they're driving into me, you'll see that his center has come above his knee. We nickname it the parking brake. It's just a knee push. The nice thing about it is it puts him right into a good position to strike. See, puts him right where we want him. Knee on stomach, or south, hammer twisting leg.
Good idea to wear those big 16-ounce gloves when you're training this, because even with those heavy gloves on, you're going to feel the elbows.
Yeah, you know, in the beginning, you do well to get something between the punch and your face. I mean, but as you train it and get better at it, you'll see opportunities to put that elbow in the right place. And you know, it's a higher level skill, but yeah, I wouldn't mind breaking your hand in that situation.
Yeah, I could see it.
Or your head if that comes into the same game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a good day.
Whatever shows up.
All right, so we kept it simple, but today when we looked at in this video, one is moving out to that mid-range. And generally, one of the most common positions you're going to go in is that framed scissor position. Now, this is a very common position in grappling. One of the first sweeps I learned from the guard was a scissor sweep, and it came from this position. But it is also a good position to make space between you and a striking threat. One of the things we wanted to do with the first drill is create movement. I don't want to be in the same place. I want to be a moving target as much as possible. Now, through the movement, you have to play with it a little bit. It's a drill. You might get a lick in the face here or there, but you will get better and you will get harder to hit. Now, as the threat starts to seek you out in this situation, sometimes they will end up off center or out of position, which gives you an opportunity to strike back. You will start to notice opportunities to give some ballistic force back to reverse and revenge for your training partner. From there, we looked at switching the position. If my partner is trying to drive into me, trying to swing, it sets up an opportunity for a sweep depending on where his balance is in his knees. Probably one of the most common ones in this position is the scissor sweep. It's common because it works well. So we implemented the scissor sweep and we changed positions. And like I said in the last video, I don't like to stay in the mount position unless I'm forced to. If I have the option, I'll smother the hands, pop up into a knee-on position, and if I go to the knee-on stomach position, I prefer to go toward the upper body to a knee-on shoulder for training, but of course on the street or a self-defense situation, it could be the head because of where it places you. It's harder for the opponent to deal with you up there, and it's harder for them to get to your weapon systems if that is what they're thinking about doing. One other option that pops up for me is what we call the parking brake. It is the old school knee push. If your partner is swinging you, has weight in one knee, you can kick that knee, and as you see in the video, it'll drop their head in a perfect position for a follow-up. Of course, you can always make space and get up at that point, but it doesn't hurt to leave them with a little love on the way out. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the content in this video, this is actually video number 2 of a 3-part series. You can check out the other 2 videos right up here.